Sean Walker goes out to Denver. Our friends at DNVR Avalanche enjoy. He's a lot of fun. He goes with a 2026 fifth rounder, and the Flyers get back a 2025 first. And Ryan Johansen, who has already been waived and is probably going to the Phantoms. Gentleman, react.
I'm pretty pumped. It was kind of a roller coaster of emotions, and I think we're going to go through all of them on this show. But this Walker trade, I don't know how you could be upset with it. This is exactly what we wanted Briere to do. We wanted him to go get a first for Sean Walker, and he did it. So good job, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of ways to break this trade down, and I'm going to have every single one of those breakdowns in my my write-up that's coming on allphly.com for diehards only later tonight. I wrote a lot of it on the plane because I didn't have internet, so I just kind of was typing away in Microsoft Word trying to figure out how I'm going to break all this down. I'll finish it up after this podcast because I obviously just got into Fort Lauderdale. I was about to fly away when the trades started breaking. So did my best to report as much as I could before I lost internet, but eventually I did. And then there was a 3-hour period where I wasn't able to know what was going on. In any case, look, they got a first round pick for Sean Walker. That was very clearly the line in the sand that they had drawn, that if you want this guy, you got to give us a first. Now, it's not quite fair to say that they got back first round value for Sean Walker because yes, they got back the first, but they also took on a bad contract to do it. So in aggregate, that is not first round value. What it really is when you add up all of the amount of money they are taking on from Johansen, that is probably more like they got a mid-second round pick in terms of aggregate value because they did take on a lot of money. However, if you're the Flyers, and we've talked about this for a long time, we've talked about the fact that they need high-end talent. That's the big thing they need. If your choices were, if basically everyone making offers for Sean Walker was only willing to offer you in aggregate second round value, if you're looking at your situation and you're saying to yourself, we need high-end players, if door number one is a straight second round pick and door number two is we'll give you a first, but you have to take on some bad money to do it, it makes way more sense for the Flyers to go for the first, because you are significantly more likely to get a high-end player with a first-round pick than with a second-round pick. So what I don't like is people positioning this as they got a first for Sean Walker. They did, but not just for Sean Walker. They had to take on other things to do it. However, they still got the first in a package back for Sean Walker, which is very important.
Right. I understand the metrics and the maths and the wizardry that go into determining the actual value of these assets that you get in a trade. But the money that they took on in Johansen doesn't really matter. I don't think it hurts the team.
It doesn't matter, but it does. Like, it doesn't matter in the sense that the Flyers are competing for a Stanley Cup. They made it abundantly clear by trading Sean Walker. They ain't competing for a Stanley Cup, and probably not next year either. What it does matter for the Flyers is that you theoretically could have weaponized this cap space in a different way. You know, we're seeing teams get fourth round picks to serve as middlemen to take on, $1.4 million in cap. The Flyers took on a lot more than 1.4 million. So those are draft picks that they now cannot get because they have given up some of their cap space to take on Ryan Johansen. Again, I don't think it was the wrong move. I want them to try to get first. And if this was a way to get a first, right move. However, we talked a lot of the last couple of weeks about how Sean Walker probably isn't worth a first straight up based on what other defense. Kelly just listen, you're going to say he's not worth it. But based on what similar defensemen have brought back over the last few years, Sean Walker probably isn't the type of guy that would generally bring back a first. So in order to get a first, Danny had to get creative. And getting creative meant taking on a guy they clearly don't want that much and taking on some money that they could have used in another way. But the way they looked at it is we used it to get a first. Now they have 4 first-round picks in the next 2 drafts, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's sure, they could have weaponized that space in another way. You know what? All those fourth-round... Ron Hextall taught me one thing. All those fourth-round picks, they ain't worth shit. They're pointless.
Not really.
Now, I know I've said, like, yeah, you can package all those, like, later on and trade them for something good. Or you can have an asset worth a first-round pick because it is, in fact, a first-round pick. They have that now. Like, now where that pick is, like Colorado, they go and get Casey Middlestat. Like, this could very well end up being pick 30, 31, 32. Like, that is very much on the table here.
We all silly like the mayor.